Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Clash of Corgis. This is a card game for 2 to 4 players. It's for ages 13 and up, and the average play time is 15 to 20 minutes per player. That being said, I think that age requirement is a bit conservative, simply because this is a cute casual card game. There's no violence or suggestive themes. There's a little bit of battling going on, but people have been playing War, the card game, for how long now? That's the equivalent of the violence in this. So if you're worried about the age requirement, you could easily, in my expert opinion, teach this to a kid that's 7 or 8 years of age. This is the box, and it opens up. There's a little lip. I always miss it. There it is. So there's a little magnet there that just sort of keeps it shut. But this is definitely a step up from a normal card box. Flips open like that. You put the cards inside. That's cool. And then you've got this rulebook here. There's actually 3 different game modes. You can play this game 3 different ways, which is cool. And to top that off, each of these cards has some kind of unique power. And that power will change depending on the mode that you're actually playing. So for example, there's 4 different guide cards here that are double-sided. This is for the original game. These are all the different cards and what they do, special powers-wise, for the original game. So there's a guide card for that. If I flip that over, Capture the Illusionist is another type of game that you'll be seeing in this particular card game, and there are the different powers listed for that. And then if I flip over here, there's Treasure Island. So these are all the different special powers for that Treasure Island game. So long story short, you've got all these cards and their powers will change depending on what mode you're playing. Speaking of the cards themselves, there are 5 different suits: blue, red, yellow, purple, and green. And they have different numbers. They're called ranks. These are ranked 1 through 9 with an ace and a wild. Each of those suits has this configuration. Now, it's important to stress that what you're looking at here is an overview video of the game. This is a sponsored overview video. I'm not going to get into a full rules teach, but if you want to see all of the unique rules that are in this game and want to see specifics, there is an official website, and I'll link that in the below description. You can read this rulebook here digitally online. As I mentioned, there are 3 different ways to play this game. I'm going to quickly show you the original rules right now. Again, this is not a full rules teach, this is just a quick overview. So for the original rule set, you're going to shuffle all of the cards together into a face-down stack, and each player is going to get 12 cards to form their starting hand. These cards are face up for example purposes. Typically they would be in someone's hand and only they can see them. And the object of this game is to get rid of all your cards to win. If you've played games like Uno, then you'll be very familiar with that concept. So this is more of like a trick-taking game, kind of, sort of. The active player on their turn will start a combo. And a combo can be a 1 of a kind, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, or 5 of a kind. And that combo is locked for the rest of the round. So you can't change the combo type as you go for that round. So as an example, let's say I started with a 1 of a kind and just put a 1 here. Someone else, the next person clockwise, would then have to put something over top of that to beat that combo. And that's typically a card of a better rank. So they have to put a 2, a 3, or a 4, or 5, something that's better than 1 here to beat it. And this will continue clockwise around the table. Again, keeping in mind you have to stay with that combo. You can't do a 2 of a kind at this point because there's only a 1 of a kind there. So players will just keep going clockwise around the table, upping that as much as they can, trying to beat that existing combo until they're forced to pass. And then if a player passes, then they're out for that round. And then finally, the player that is left and has beaten everybody else will put all the cards off to the side, and then they'll lead the new round with a new combo. So the winner gets to choose the next combo, essentially. Now, whenever you play a combo, you'll be able to observe those special powers like I was explaining earlier. As I mentioned, each of the different card games in this game have unique abilities. So if I were to play the 1, for example, I'm going to try and zoom in on that as much as possible, but it's kind of difficult because the print is fairly small. Again, I highly recommend that you go to the official website to zoom in on these a bit better. But if I were to play the 1, I could use this ability. Privately view the top card of the deck. If the suit of that card matches a suit from a card in this combo, discard it to win the round. Otherwise, return it to the top of the deck. So you're going to be seeing some really weird things going on here. Ways to draw cards from the deck. Ways to get someone else out or to win the round automatically. Different things like that will kind of break up the action. But again, ultimately what you're trying to do is get the best combo, win rounds so you can lead the next combo and get rid of the cards that you want. And ultimately, when you're out of cards, you win the round. In the game Treasure Island, players will be forming a party of heroes in order to defeat foes in order to gain loot. And if you gain 10 loot, you win. So the way this game works is you shuffle the deck of cards and you deal each player 3 cards to form their hand. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put these face up right here just for example purposes, but typically these would be in your hand privately. And the way this game works is that on your turn, you're going to first draw up to 3 cards. In the beginning, you'll have 3 cards already, but you'll be spending those cards as you play. So at the beginning of your turn, draw up to 3 cards, and then you can play 1 card if you want to add to your party. Now, in the beginning of the game, your party will be empty. So I could play this 9, for example, to start forming my party. And you can have up to 2 cards in your party. It's worth mentioning that. If you want to replace an existing card, you can by discarding the old one and putting the new one in its place. But you can play up to 1 card, and then you can activate that card's special ability. Like I said, there are different abilities, and that will change depending on the card that you're playing and the game that you're playing. So if I played the Assassin, for example, I could do this. Target any player, discard any card from their party if possible. So it's just a way of messing with other players. But yeah, there's a whole list of different abilities here on this card. And again, rules are on the official website. So you're going to play up to 1 card into your party to start forming it. Now, the last part of your step is this. You have the option to draw 0, 1, 2, or 3 cards to possibly fight. You don't have to fight if you don't want to. If you think that you're not doing well enough, that's how you build your party. But typically, let's say I wanted to fight 1. So I'm just going to draw 1 to fight. And I'm going to go ahead and flip that over. You're going to compare the values. There's a 9 here and a 5 here. Your sum has to be greater than the sum of the foes that you draw. If it's equal to or lower, then you lose. But if you win, you get to keep this as a loot. And this is worth 1 loot. And then you discard your party to the discard pile. That's why you may not want to fight right away, because you want to build a party of 2 first before you start drawing more cards. Again, you can fight 1 card, you could fight 2 or even 3 cards if you think your party size and your strength is high enough. The last game I want to go over is called Capture the Illusionist. Rather than shuffle the deck of cards, you're going to pick out a suit for each person. All the cards from 1 suit for each person. So I'm going to get all the green ones, for example. My opponent might get all the blue ones or the red ones, whatever. So as long as you've got all of the cards of that suit, you're going to go ahead and shuffle this up, and then you're going to put 4 cards like that for the top row in front of you, 4 cards like that on the bottom row in front of you without seeing what they are, and then you're going to keep the remaining 3 in your hand. And these you can actually see. And the whole idea of this game is you have to find your opponent's Illusionist, which is the star card or the wild here, and you have to find him 2 times. And if you do that, you win. And on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to first do the insight action, which is you get to peek at one of your face down cards in front of you. This is partly a memory game because you kind of have to remember where your different cards are. And each of these cards have different abilities. The second part of your turn involves playing a card from your hand and revealing it, or revealing one of these cards and playing its power. And as I said earlier, each card value or rank has a unique way of behaving depending on the game and the rank of the card. And I'm not going to read all these off to you, but the idea here is you're going to be using the powers of your cards to try and find the wild illusionist that your opponent has somewhere, either in their hand or in their tableau. That's the general gist of it. And then throughout this process, as you activate cards, you're going to be keeping them face up in front of you. Some cards will become rested as they are activated. Think of like exhausted or tapped, like in Magic the Gathering, but it's called rested here. And at the end of your turn, you're going to refresh all of your rested cards so that you can use them the next time around. But ultimately, what you're trying to do, safeguard your illusionist while trying to find your opponent's illusionist and capture him twice. And there you have it, a quick overview of Clash of Corgis. Not a full rules teach, but hopefully this gives you an idea as to what you're getting into should you decide to pick up this game. Like I said earlier, this game is available on the developer's official website. It's about 15 bucks right now, and I'll put a link for you in the below description. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.